Welcome back to the channel. If you've ever dropped a penny on the ground and didn't bother picking it up, today's story might just make you reconsider. Because believe it or not, that tiny copper coin you thought was worthless might be hiding a fortune. And in one very special case, a single 1998 D1-cent coin turned out to be worth an unbelievable $14 million. That's right, $14 million for one little coin you'd probably overlook. But this story isn't just about the value of a penny. It's about history, mystery, luck, and one man's wild journey through the world of rare coins that would turn his life upside down in ways no one could have imagined. It all began in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado, in the quiet fall of 2011. An unassuming middle-aged man named Carl Jenkins had just retired early from a 25-year career as a postal worker. Carl wasn't flashy, wasn't particularly interested in money, and never considered himself a collector of anything, unless you count all the old newspapers stacked up in his garage. But one thing he did have was time. And with retirement, Carl found himself bored and curious. He had always liked going to yard sales, flea markets, and estate sales on the weekends. That was his thing. It wasn't about buying anything valuable, it was about the stories, the nostalgia, the little pieces of the past waiting to be found in someone's forgotten boxes. One Saturday morning, Carl stumbled upon an estate sale just a few blocks from his home. The house belonged to an elderly man who had recently passed away and whose grandchildren were liquidating everything inside. It wasn't anything special: dusty old furniture, some vinyl records, antique books, a rusted typewriter. But in the back corner of the garage, tucked away under a pile of old National Geographic magazines, Carl found a battered shoebox filled with loose change. Quarters, nickels, dimes, and plenty of pennies. He picked it up, weighed it in his hand, and chuckled, $5. Carl asked one of the grandkids who was helping run the sale, "Take it," the teenager replied without even looking up from his phone. So, Carl walked away with that shoebox and took it home, planning to eventually roll the coins and cash them in at the bank. But something about the collection intrigued him. That night, he poured the coins out onto his kitchen table and started sorting through them. Most of it was exactly what you'd expect: dirty old coins from the 80s and 90s. But then he noticed something odd. One of the pennies had a slightly different tone. It wasn't quite the same reddish copper color. It looked shinier, cleaner, but also older somehow. He flipped it over. On the front, it bore the familiar face of Lincoln. The date: 1998, and the mint mark: D. Denver. Nothing too special, right? Except this coin felt off. The rim seemed unusually thick. The weight was subtly different. The detail was almost too sharp. At first, Carl didn't think too much about it. But something told him to hold onto it. He placed it in an old plastic medicine container and set it aside. A few days later, he brought it with him to a local coin shop. The shop owner, a grizzled man named Lou with thick glasses and a growling voice, took a look and raised his eyebrows. "Where'd you get this?" Lou asked. Carl explained about the estate sale. Lou didn't say much else at first. He just nodded, took out a magnifying glass, and examined the coin closely for a long, quiet minute. "Mind if I keep this for a couple of days?" Lou asked. "I want to show it to someone I know." "No promises, but it might be worth something." Carl left the coin with Lou, half expecting never to hear from him again. But 3 days later, his phone rang. "Carl," Lou said, "you're gonna want to come down to the shop." When Carl arrived, Lou was standing behind the counter, looking a little paler than usual. "You've got something real strange here," he said. "My guy over in Chicago, been in the coin game 40 years, he's never seen anything like this. He ran tests." "That coin of yours? It's a 1998 D mint. But it's been struck on the wrong planchet. It's not copper-plated zinc like it's supposed to be. It's solid copper." Carl blinked. "Okay, and, Lou said, that shouldn't exist. Not in 1998. The U.S. Mint stopped making pennies with solid copper cores way back in 1982. Everything after that should be zinc. This one, it's a throwback. A ghost. A minting error so rare it shouldn't even be possible. And the detail? That's the kicker. It was clearly struck with early die pressure, the imprint is flawless. Perfect condition. This isn't just a rare coin. This is a one-of-a-kind anomaly. Carl was stunned. A penny that shouldn't exist. Worth what? A few $100. Lou shook his head. If this hits auction, I wouldn't be surprised if it pulled 6 figures. Maybe more. That was all Carl needed to hear. Over the next few months, Carl worked with Lou and his Chicago contact, who connected him to a network of coin specialists, appraisers, and historians. The coin was examined under microscopes, weighed, and subjected to metallurgical tests. It was confirmed, 1998D, struck on a solid copper planchet, likely due to an old blank accidentally remaining in the mint's machinery. Theory swirled. Some said it was a leftover blank from pre-1982 that somehow made it into the production line. Others believed it may have been struck as a test or prototype and mistakenly released into circulation. Either way, it was authentic, it was unique, and it was a dream find for numismatists around the world. By early 2013, the coin was ready to go to auction. Carl decided to list it through one of the most prestigious auction houses in New York, known for handling rare coins and historical artifacts. The auction was scheduled for September, and buzz began building well before the day came. Industry publications picked up the story. Impossible penny surfaces in Colorado. Solid copper 1998 D1 cent coin baffles experts. Coin collectors, investors, and even casual hobbyists wanted to see it. When the auction finally began, Carl sat in the back of the room, heart pounding in his chest. The bidding opened at $100,000. Within minutes, it climbed to $500,000. Then $1 million. Then $2 million. The auctioneer's voice rang through the hall, louder and faster with each bid. Finally, after a tense battle between 2 anonymous phone bidders, the gavel fell, sold, for $14 million. The room went silent. Carl couldn't breathe. $14 million. For 1 penny, overnight, he went from retired mailman to millionaire. But Carl wasn't interested in changing his life too dramatically. He didn't buy a mansion or a Lamborghini. He didn't travel the world or start a hedge fund. Instead, he paid off his mortgage, donated a sizable chunk to local charities, and started a small scholarship fund at the local community college where his wife used to teach. He kept his old car. Still clipped coupons. Still wore the same pair of sneakers, but he did develop a new hobby, coin collecting. And not for the money. For the stories, because Carl had learned something powerful. Every coin has a story. Every coin passes through hundreds, maybe thousands of hands. From vending machines to coat pockets to piggy banks to shoeboxes. Some are lost, some forgotten, some melted down. But a few, just a rare few, carry with them mysteries that span decades. Mistakes that turn into treasures. Errors that become legends. Carl never found another coin quite like that 1998D. But he didn't need to. That 1 penny changed his life. It changed the way he saw the world. And in a strange way, it reminded him that sometimes, the smallest things, the ones you overlook, can carry the greatest value. So next time you see a penny on the ground, think twice before walking past it. Because you never know, it might just be the one that makes history. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through numismatic mystery and unexpected fortune. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable coin stories, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a tale of history, treasure, and the magic hidden in plain sight.